Nobody is stopping Naoya Inoue or David Benavidez. Inoue dismantled Junto Nakatani, an elite level fighter. And then just a few hours later, David Benavidez ran through Zurdo Ramirez like nothing was coming back at him. And these guys aren't tune-ups, they're not cab drivers. Zurdo and Nakatani are among the best in their respective divisions, but against these two guys, there was simply no answer. So now we're looking at two boxers who have transcended the conversation of who's the best in their division and moved on to something else. It's not who will beat them. Instead, it's how long will their divisions be forced to deal with this. The scariest part is they don't even win the same way. Inoue solves everything with, precision, picture perfect, beautiful boxing. And for David Benavidez, everything is a nail to which he hammers. So no, we're not asking who can beat them. We're asking if anyone even will ever beat them. So I'll get into Inoue first. He defeated Junto Nakatani. Unanimous decision win, a fight I've been calling for a long time, even though I had my doubts on Junto Nakatani's chances in this fight. If you go back to our preview episode, I even said such, Junto Nakatani, he's a really good boxer, really fun southpaw, lanky, he's got really good power, a beautiful 1-2, but I don't think he has the skills to beat a boxer the caliber of Naoya Inoue. Lo and behold, what I told you is true. You gotta listen to me, fellas. You've got to. I know what I'm talking about. I know ball, fellas. Inoue was never at any chance, at any moment in this fight, or before this, or any moment after, like even when they're 90. He doesn't have a shot at losing this fight. Nakatani was always going to beat him. And if you were sitting out here telling yourself, oh, Junto Nakatani's got a puncher's chance, you're an idiot. You're dumb. You don't know boxing. Guess what, fellas? Here, we know boxing, and we're going to get to know it, It was beautiful. He was on point against Junto Nakatani. There was so much nuance to Inoue's game. We're not going to have time to get into all of it here. We'll touch on the major points, sure. But it came down to was it athleticism or was it skill? Or was it physical attributes or was it time put in the gym? And no offense to Junto Nakatani, he doesn't put as much time in the gym as Naoya Inoue. And even if he does, he has such a head start, Inoue does that it doesn't matter. He can spend the next 2 decades in the gym and he won't touch Inoue. Inoue's been preparing for the southpaw matchup for a long time. I mean, he's been looking at this Nakatani fight. I feel like he's been looking for the tank fight, even though nobody wants to agree with me there. Gervonta Davis and Naoya Inoue will probably clash at some point within the next 2 or 3 years. But you watch Inoue take on a Nakatani southpaw, a fighter that is among the best in his division. He's very clearly the second best fighter. And Inoue really didn't have as much trouble with him. A lot of people will tell you, oh, he looked like he was gassing out in the middle of the fight. No, we'll talk about that in a second, but no. I know what you're thinking, oh yeah, Blaine just is on the Inoue bandwagon. And sure, I do like Naoya Inoue, but listen here, listen to me. I think sometimes people like to put the cart before the horse. Revolutionary thought, right? Oh yeah, put the cart before the horse. Seriously. A lot of people want Inoue to lose simply because he's great. But you watch the hand traps where he's pulling down, he's checking the lead hand, he's suffocating the jab of Junto Nakatani. Now, Nakatani, he will lead with his left hand every now and then, but he doesn't make a habit of it. And we saw him do that against Inoue here. We saw him lead with the left hand, but he couldn't get off his 1-2 because Inoue's constantly pawing at it, constantly touching it, constantly moving his head, bouncing in and out and saying, hey, you don't know the range yet, do you? You don't know the range yet. And it took Nakatani forever to find the range. The bouncy footwork really did. Inoue's movement is beautiful. He'll fight on the inside angle of a southpaw. He'll go to the inside. Everybody always talks about, oh, you want the outside foot angle against a southpaw. Sure, Inoue went and got that a lot. And we talked about this with a knockout from Tenshin Nasukawa, how he takes the inside angle and he will punish orthodox fighters who allow him to take the inside angle because they think the outside angle is better. A stiff jab, a cross on an angle. Inoue does that too. Not quite, as often as I'd like. I'd like to see him vary it up a lot more. But Nakatani, as a southpaw, was really happy to take the outside angle, even though Inoue's like, I'm fine with this. You're gonna pivot into my power hand, my left? Okay. But Inoue taking away the jab. Nakatani really just never got comfortable because he couldn't get his jab going. Masterful. Inoue with the body work. Nakatani's long, he's lanky, much taller than Naoya Inoue is. And he didn't quite chop down a tree quite to my liking, but who am I to tell Naoya Inoue how to box, right? Hey, you should have hit him in the body. But why? He won. But he did work the body, lots of jabs, lots of crosses to the body, changing levels, just to say, hey, you better watch your body. Because if you come out and I wail on your body, there's a chance I can come up top. So Nakatani had plenty of things to be worried about. Now, Junto Nakatani, credit to him, he did make the fight interesting. It seemed like Nakatani, when he was mounting his comeback in later rounds of this fight, it seemed like he had been waiting for Inoue to kind of tire out and he could be the more fresh fighter. And it worked for him. He kind of did come back. And I don't think necessarily he had Inoue in trouble. He landed some really good shots on him. He was really close on some other ones. Obviously, he was looking for the counter. But he just, it was a little too late. And then Naoya Inoue puts on his 11th and 12th round. If you want to watch great leadership or general ringship, and whatever you want to call it in boxing, watch that 11th and that 12th round from Naoya Inoue. Actually, go back and watch the 10th round where Nakatani's doing some okay work, where Inoue's kind of coming back to it. But watch from that to the last 2 rounds and watch how Inoue just goes in there and takes over a fight. And that's what separates a fighter from being good, like Junto Nakatani is, to great, like Naoya Inoue is. It was a masterful performance of, hey, watch me take over this fight. And that's how he won the fight. It was close. I had it close on my scorecards. I watched it again, and it was a very close fight. But I don't think Inoue was ever actually in any danger of losing this fight. I don't think he was ever hurt, even though there's times he was backing up and such. I don't think any of that. And now they're talking about Bam Rodriguez, and oh my gosh. I told my buddy Lionel at work, he's a big boxing guy too. I said, look, they put this fight in Vegas, bro. We're going to make a video. We going. And they just said, yeah, we're targeting Bam versus Inoue in Japan. I'm like, oh, can't go to that. I would, dude, that is a fight. Oh my gosh. The speed, footwork, and offense of Jesse Rodriguez versus the speed, footwork, and offense of Naoya Inoue. Now, Inoue, he's been fighting bigger fighters. He's been going up in weight class, up and up. So this is an interesting dynamic because he gets to fight the smaller guy now, the faster guy, the more skilled, we'll find out, more skilled guy, right? I love it. They're saying February 2027. Way too early to make a pick for that. Obviously, a lot can happen between now and February of 27. So, all in all, though, Naoya Inoue's his performance was masterful, incredible, and what boxing's about. Just to say, it really was what boxing is all about. Now, on the other side, you that was in the morning. So if you're watching these fights early in the morning, you're a degenerate like me, and you stay up all day, you go to your daughter's gymnastics thing, you watch the UFC, you go and try to get some workout in, you do run the roads, and then you stay up late till midnight to watch David Benavidez and Zurdo Ramirez. That was a statement performance. David Benavidez is a problem. He's a problem, and there might not be a solution to it, boys. There might not be a solution to what David Benavidez brings to the table. So he proved, there are elite names in this sport. Usyk, Inoue, Dimitri Bivol, Canelo, formerly Terrence Crawford. There's names that are just okay, these guys are the creme de la creme, the most beautiful boxers you can imagine. David Benavidez wants to be there, and this win over Zurdo was not just he's only lost to Bivol, so no, Zurdo's a good fighter. Zurdo Ramirez is a very good fighter. He's not a cab driver. He's not some tin man that's there to get a highlight for David Benavidez like we've seen in the past. And I'll be honest, David Benavidez has been taking hard fights. He hasn't taken pushover fights, but you watch what he did in this fight. You watch how he had no regard for the size of Zurdo Ramirez despite going up to cruiserweight. Only weighing 196 pounds, not having to cut weight. Like, you watch Benavidez and you're like, this guy's not a boxer. There's no way he's actually good. The dude is incredible. He's built like a great value Tyson Fury. But he proved he belongs in the names with the Usyks and the Inoues, who the other monster that fought earlier. And like you don't want to like discredit what Zurdo Ramirez is. Like, he's a very good boxer. Zurdo Ramirez has some really good wins on his resume. He went and he lost to Bivol, which I get. Dimitri Bivol is a top tier fighter, but like he beat Dorticos, he's beat Callum Smith. He's got some wins that are like, okay, this guy's actually pretty fun, and he's a heavy hitter. 48 wins, 30 knockouts. Like, he is a big time hitter. So you can't take away from what Benavidez did. You don't want to take it away because you want to put it in proper context of, hey, Zurdo is a really good fighter. It might not be who he has been fighting, but this is the best win to date for David Benavidez. Because like you go down his list, you look since May of 25 or something like that. David Lemieux, Caleb Plant, Boo Boo Andrade, which I don't rate as a high win. A lot of people do. Vostik, David Morrell, Anthony Yard, and now Zurdo Ramirez. Like, that run right there is better than most fighters are doing now. Like, you only like Inoue and Usyk and Bivol are on these kinds of runs. David Benavidez is putting his name right dab smack in the middle of this conversation between everybody else. The speed, the combo. Did you watch this fight? Like, you have to watch this fight in like half speed just to kind of get your head around what David Benavidez was doing. His punch combo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like, it was that fast. He was just like, I'm going to touch you and it's going to hurt. I don't have to hit you with 100% of my power. And then the finishing sequence, where he had that, 13 punch combination, but like the last 3 punches, he was like, all right, now we're gonna put all of them into it. 3 hooks really busted up the eye of Zurdo, which caused him to take a knee and obviously take the L in the fight. The lack of footwork doesn't really concern me as much. A only fight that it would really concern me would be against a Beterbiev, only because of how heavy he hits. But like, there's nobody else in this division. If Zurdo can't hurt him, like, who else will? Beterbiev can break him down, and that is the most interesting fight going forward to me, aside from Dimitri Bivol. But yeah, it was crazy too, because like, Zurdo came in, he was doing what he had to do, but there was a point in time you could see he's kind of getting desperate. He's throwing caution to the wind and covering up, kind of just trying to bang with David Benavidez. Bad idea, right? He got desperate, man. And obviously 6-round KO, incredible. I can't get enough of David Benavidez. I haven't been sold on him. I'll be real with you guys. I haven't been sold on him for a long time. Now, I think might be top 5, top 7 pound for pound. Like, I got Shakur in there, just as I like thinking like Canelo and somebody else. Like, I think he's better pound for pound than Canelo right now. There's nobody else there, I like Bivol. That's the fight. Bivol has got the 1 loss to Beterbiev. Obviously, the Beterbiev fight is a banger too. And I think he said he wants to go down. I don't know what cruiserweight looks like, honestly. I haven't taken a peek at it in a while, but like, you got Benavidez. Opetaia is the one. Oh, that's right, Opetaia. If he can get out of the TKO grasp and get out of Zuffa, Opetaia versus Benavidez would be a slamming fight. Don't count it out. Don't count on that one though, fellas. That's nope. Just don't count on it. That won't happen. I think he can beat Bivol. That may be recency bias for sure, but I do think he can beat Dimitri Bivol. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, look, right here. Boom, playlist. This is our show. We talk about boxing every week, and we try and preview the big fights. So, subscribe, like, you do the whole 9 yards. If you like this is what we do here. We talk about fights in a no bull kind of way.